my God, I'm about to meet Nahko. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Okay, can I tell you how I discovered your music real quick?
Yeah.
So when I was going through a really difficult time, I had this crazy near-death experience that gave me a 1% chance of living. And I was at a really down moment, and I was sharing vulnerably with this person at a juice bar that was working it.
Is this here in Florida?
Yes,
okay.
In West Palm. And a couple years ago in 2014. And I gave him a tip, and he was like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, let me give you something now. He wrote down Nahko and Medicine for the people on the receipt.
Sneaky.
And I listened on the way home, and I fell in love. And I was such in a dark place, and your music really brought me to it.
Did you put a particular song on there, or was it just like the name?
Just the name.
Okay, yeah.
And I got my sister hooked on you, my mom hooked on you, and
your pseudo mom.
Yes.
I'm totally.
And I drove to St. Pete to see with my sister, and then the next night came to the Culture Room to see in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for the lyrics, because it really brought me out of such a dark period in my life.
And when was this for you then, this whole time?
2013 to about 2015.
Okay.
And
how's your health now?
Great.
Good.
And now I'm a public speaker, and I share very vulnerably. So I would love to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
By the way, I'm glad you're really healthy, and you look great. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I love the story. Thanks so much.
This is my little microphone. You gotta.
Thank you for having me.
So
we're live, actually, by the way.
Okay, so
welcome to the show. Sorry.
Quick. No, you could do that. Yeah. Quick question. So, what gives you the courage to share so vulnerably in your lyrics?
Well, much like you, I suppose, I came into different times in my life where I felt I was sick, you know. Not necessarily, of course, the same course that you went through, but that I had things to work through, you know. I mean, I guess oftentimes when I'm starting to write a song, it just kind of like comes out sometimes, you know. Like, I guess in the most recent years, I've sort of been like being more intentional about it. But I'm inspired by life experience. I'm inspired by people like here today, you know, the movements of our people to take care of each other in a better way.
When I saw you perform at the Culture Room, I think a year ago or something, like when you were performing, it's so powerful. Like you're like, I just need all of you people to come with me on this change. And it's just, I tell anyone possible about your music. And like, I just want to ask you, like, if you could give one piece of advice to any dreamer out there who has a dream, maybe going through some obstacles right now, what would it be?
Anything's possible, and keep going. Because, I mean, for me, like, I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now. But I think that if surrendering is a big piece of it, you know? Surrendering to what you believe in is a big part of it, because if you don't fully give yourself to something almost in a sacrificial way, you might not get to go all the way with it, you know.
I love that.
I don't even know what all the way is. It's a big mystery, you know.
I don't think there's ever like an end. It's just that journey.
Yeah.
And surrendering to that journey.
Yeah. So I would say that also you're not alone either, you know, that there's a lot of people, young people, people your age, whatever age you are listening out there, that are going through things just like you are. And it doesn't, don't be afraid to reach out, you know, for help and to continue to look beyond your scope for more inspiration and more wisdom.
Definitely. And one last question. I have so many lines from your lyrics that speak so much to me. One is, take my hand, I won't lead you astray. We will not go gently in the darkest of days. Love that line. It just is so powerful. And also, I always play this on my Insta stories when I'm feeling like overwhelmed with work. It all can be done. And it's just like such a good power song. But I would say, like, what do you have one lyric, maybe just specifically right now in this time in your life, that is speaking heavily to you and strongly?
Yeah, I do. That's a great question, by the way.
Thanks.
The lyric right now is "Take Your Power Back." There's a song that I'm working on. It's like, you got to take your power back.
I like that.
And so, I mean, clearly that's what we're doing here, right? And there's so much momentum when you look at a person's evolution as a dimensional being, you know, and you look at what is possible in the span of our lifetime, and we're only using a small percentage of our brains, you know. And so we are far more powerful than we think. And in some ways, when you look at the old people, the ancient civilizations, like they were accessing like way more than we're even accessing, and they had technology that we didn't even have today, you know. So in some ways, we've like worked backwards, you know. And so I think that taking your power back, you know, speaks to so many different levels of humanity and of our evolution and of our transcendence as well.
It's so easy to forget that because you just go day to day in society.
Yeah,
but
and you can get involved in things that become toxic, that are habits or patterns or what do you call it? Addictions, you know, to things that are unhealthy for you. And some people take lifetimes to figure out what those things are, and they've already come to a point in their life where they're like, you know, it's so hard to turn around, you know.
When I was in a coma for 6 days, and
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember everything.
Wow.
Like I'm going to. It was more realistic than even this reality. Like the greenest grass I've ever seen. Beautiful orange mountains. I wasn't in a physical body. I was this being of light. And I was never afraid that my life was ending. I didn't think that at all. But I was in so much peace. And when I was out of the coma, I still had a mask on my face, tube down my throat, and hooked up to 9 different bags of antibiotics. So I couldn't move, breathe, or speak, but I had my mind.
Yeah.
And I picture my mind to be this like pure, healthy pink. And I would just push this down to the rest of my body. And I never read this in a book. It was just intuitive.
Yeah.
And it's easy to forget how powerful we are, but that's something that like I always think back to. It's something had to happen to get me to this point.
Well, I mean, consider the event we're at today, right? Something had to happen for us to get to this point, right? And whether it's something that we wish we could take back or not, like change only occurs when real trauma happens, you know.
Yeah.
At least that's what we've seen. And so you're in your body, out of your body, having a spiritual experience.
Definitely.
That's dope.
Yeah, your music brings me to a spiritual experience.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Teamwork.
Yes. So thank you so much. Follow Nahko and Medicine for the People. If you haven't heard his music, you have to listen to it. I literally tell everybody because someone gave it to me, and I think it is a gift that you give to other people. So,
that's so
thank
cool.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Be decent, America. I'm begging you.